But the other thing in a free society, and if you understand what liberty is all about, there's a lot of hesitation about liberty because people might abuse it. They might abuse it economically, they might gamble and waste their money, and then they have to be taken care of. Others might take liberty and use it in a bad sort of way, waste their lives and their time. They might gamble. They might have habits that we don't like. And they tend to want to think that vices are crimes, but vices may well be bad and not good for a person and maybe something that parents can deal with. But if governments decide that vices are bad and that they're crimes, we end up with the situation we have today, because it has been known now for a good many years. They tried to do it with alcohol, that this was a vice to drink too much, so we'll prohibit it. We'll put people in prison, and made things much, much worse until we finally woke up as a nation and repealed prohibition. But just think of the harm done by taking the vice of people wanting to smoke something that was going to be prohibited and start arresting them. Think of the harm done by the drug war over these many decades. We fill our prisons, we put people in prison for never committing a violent act. Some go to prison for life with never committing a violent act. And this is because people aren't tolerant. We generally are pretty tolerant when it comes to people's religious values. And we're pretty tolerant when it comes to intellectual pursuits. Even if you disagree, you don't outlaw the teaching of communism. People read about it and study and hope they're refuted by a better idea. But when it comes to habits, people just cannot tolerate it. They just think that if you do it, that means you endorse it. But toleration and liberty does not mean that you endorse what people do. You have to allow people to do it. But the big problem is, in this day and age, it's assumed that if a person doesn't take care of themselves, that their neighbor will be obligated to take care of them through government force. And that is what's wrong. If you want to live in a free society, you ought to have the right to benefit by all your positive actions. But if you don't do well, you don't have the right to go to your neighbor through your government and demand that you be taken care of because you didn't do the right thing.